before our midterm. Wait, let me check. Before the midterm, how many topics left before the midterm? Kilig na ba? Ay, wait lang sa ha. Kaya nagpakilig na. Mm-hmm. So before the midterm, ninth week ang midterm. So ninth week, where's ninth week? So more likely we'll still have discuss na to ni siya karon. Nasi ko ako siya 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lessons left before the midterm. The midterm would probably be around third week of the October. So, kaya pa. Okay. So, more likely Wednesday, we will meet on Wednesday. Friday also. Kung wala yung mga activity. May activity at ang school. Wednesday and Friday. I'm not sure yet. Sa kailangan mo attend me or pwede na online. So, kung pwede maka-attend, I mean, kung pwede na online, then mag-class at the same time. We will meet on Wednesday and Friday so that we can catch up then. Kung napay time remaining before the exam, so chill lang. No? Activity time. That would be our activity time if there are still days left before or remaining days before the midterm exam. That would be our activity time. Sahon ako activity tanan. We'll finish more likely all the topics, then activity. That would be the idea. Sige. So far, we'll have this one, anthropological self. What do you mean, or anyone knows about the study of anthropology? Anthropology. Anyone has an idea about anthropology? Yes, Sanchez.
Sir, anthropology, sir, is a study of human societies and culture and their development.
Society, culture, and development. Okay, sige. How about Aya? Yes, Aya.
Sir, anthropologist po, sir, is naga-rotate siya or naga-tuyok ihang topic about sa behavior sa mga tao, sir, sila mga beliefs or what make us human po, sir, sa to ang mga human as a group po, sir.
What's the difference of anthropology and sociology? Asa may unique sila? I mean, what makes them different in terms of as a science? Sige, Rolando. Yes, Rolando.
I think, sir, kalahian nila about sa kuan sa anthropology o sociology is sociology is the study of society, sir, sa atong belong karon, and the anthropology is the study of human beings that is involved in that city, sir, with their cultures, beliefs, and traditions, sir.
So, dol ra?
Yes, sir. Kung connection na siya sa connection.
Sige. So, yes, no. Anthropology studies more on the cultural aspect of the society, cultural aspect, about the beliefs, values, norms, the things that we create, use, okay, and the like. No? That would be the focus of the study of anthropology. Okay, so at least we'll have a common idea of anthropology, especially talking about cultural aspect. Okay, So generally, what I mean culture means that everything or anything that can be found in society, that is culture. Anything or everything that can be found within the society is culture. Everything that we used is part of culture. So the things that we use is part of culture, the beliefs, values, language, norms, folkways, mores, taboos. These are parts of culture. Okay. Okay. So literally, that's culture. So atong sanina, the ways our beliefs, no, part of religious part of culture. Our beliefs, yes. Our world's perspective, that's part of culture. No? So tanan itong makita society is part of culture, in short. Okay. So that would be in cultural aspects. No? The idea of anthropology in relation to the perspective of the self is that if sociology defines self or believe that self is a product of social interactions and experience within the society, as what George Herbert Mead and the general idea of sociological perspective about the self, it's a product of social interaction, our interaction with one another. It's the main idea there. So anthropological, main idea is that culture shapes us. Our sense of self is shaped by our culture. So in short, we can know a behavior or ways of thinking of an individual by looking to its culture. Okay, that's the idea. Because culture shapes us, so therefore we can know a person. If we can know him personally, we can at least have a grasp of his identity or his sense of self by looking to its culture. Because more likely, self is embedded in culture. That's the idea, the general idea of this anthropological perspective. And according to Raif, 2010, this one. Yes, she is a psychologist. He believed that culture can influence how you view, for example, relationships, personality traits, achievements, and expressing our emotions. In short, especially with regards to personality traits, our character is highly influenced by our cultural background setup. Now, how do you distinguish sociological perspective about the self and cultural? Seems to me, and we paano permintin na mag-uban sa sociological o anthropological, but what do you think is a distinction? Can you distinguish them in relation to understanding of the self? The two, can you distinguish them? Anyone who wants to answer? How can you distinguish the anthropological perspective about the self and sociological? What makes them different in terms of concept and idea? Where is the distinction lies? Sige na. Yes, Aya.
Sir, kay pag ma-distinguish nimo ang kalahian sa sociological and anthropological sir because ang sa sociological self sir iyang perspective is kanang ato ang self sir kay mabuo siya is natay interaction with one another sa laing mga tao sir dira anak wa nato ang self na shape while the anthropologist sir anthropological is ang kuan the way say belief sa ato ang culture sir mo na to'y balik gusunod gud nato sir mo to'y mo shape sa atong sarili kay mo na may nasugdan sa ato ang culture sir while ang sa sociology is na-encounter nato sa different people sa society po.
How do you understand culture, Aya? Is it something tangible or intangible? What do you think? How do you understand culture in this context? Is it something tangible? Because when we say sociological, it's something tangible, something experiential, because we are referring to people. We are interacting with people. How about culture? How do we experience culture in this sense?
Culture po sir is kanang mo na ato ang naandan sir since sa ato ang mga grandparents, mga ana bali, murag mo na itong natubuan sir ba, follow lang nato sa ilaha.
Follow. Sige, sige.
Yes, po, sir.
Thank you very much, Aya. My question is, how do we experience culture? Sige na. That's my question. If through sociological, we create the identity of ourselves through social interaction with other people or interaction with other people, something tangible, something magstoryahan sir, kana sir, pag meet up ninyo sir, your communication, interaction. That's how we are shaped by this phenomena. How about culture? Did we met culture somewhere else, somewhere in the society? Where specifically? In what way we keep in touch with culture? In what way? Sige now, kindly give me a example. Example. Here, anyone? How do we encounter culture in our society? Cultural nights? How do we encounter culture in our society? Sige na. Sige. Rafi, yes, Rafi.
Sample po, sir.
Yes.
Like festivals po, sir, nga na.
Depende sa mo. How do we encounter culture? During festivals lang, how about walay festival? Dili ta ma-encounter tong kultura kung walay festival. Besides that, wala na great chance na ma-encounter na itong culture. Ma-experience na to atong culture. Yes, don't lower your hand ha kung gusto mo answer na kayo. Yes, princess.
Ano sir, kanang culture na pareha sa to mga Pilipino is kanang nakayuyab, tas gusto na mo magminyo na kanang mag-ano mo sir, tawag ana, kanang mamalayi.
Malay. Sana all. Pagmamalay na. No? Dahil ang experience ang kultura sa pagmamalay na. Okay, sige. Sige, mas princess. Yes, Rolando.
Kuan sir ka na example kay pagmamano sir, we use it every day dili lang sa mga naay occasion and ana nga dapat mao jud na ginabuhat sa mga Filipino ang pagmamano sa mga elders sir, which they show respect to elders that they love sir.
Thank you. Okay, sige. Pagmamano. Sige. Yes, Jade.
We encounter our culture, sir. Gikan pa lang gyud sa susugod, sir. Gikan pa lang sa pag-anak sa ato napasa na sa ato sa atong mga generation from sa ato ang ninuno hangtod sa napasa sa ato na atuwa na siyang na-influence na nato siya, nadala na nato siya. Experience sa ato ang mga culture. Ito sa lang pagpasa sa ato, sir.
Specific ba yun daw, Jade? Because
Answer.
pagpasa something, listen, imagine, something experiential ka. Sige.
Pagpasas like answer. Like kanang mga pamahiin nila nga ilang gipasa sa tuang nga kutay sa answer. Kanang naay namatay sir nga kuan bawal og magdalag pagkaon nga gikan sa patay. Nga na sir. Kanang mga po og upo naanda na nato na gikan pa lang sa sugod sir nga ilang gipasa sa tua.
Related ka, Rolanda. Okay. Yes, Ken. Yes, Ken. Ken dumanhog. Kang Jake is superstitious po damo. Ken, hello Ken.
I say sir, one sir kanang for example sir is kanang Kanang gikan pud gani sa mga katigulangan sir, like kanang about mythical creatures, then something kanang paggabi kailangan kanang mo ingon ka kang tabi-tabi po or something like that, then kanang ano pud sir, um
Okay.
audible ba sir?
Yes, audible can, audible can.
Dili lang sir ano ko. Okay, ay mo to sir ang kanang something kanang mga superstitious belief katong mga mythical creatures, something kanang kailangan kanang mga nuno sa punso ano kanang moingon gay kag tabi-tabi po or kanang something like that, like that sir na ana sir.
Okay. Now, based on your answer so far, you are referring to something extraordinary event. Don't mind my word extraordinary. Something unusual event. How about kanang common nga conversation? Tapok mo mga igsuon, o tapok mo mga ang pamilya ninyo, o tapok mo mga amigo, di ba? Casual lang nga conversation ba? Nakoy kultura diha nga ma-experience. Yes or no? Then, in what specific way makaingon ka in that conversation, in simple conversation, there's quote-unquote culture involved. Kita itong ipaingon ko itong rare occurrences ito, pagmamano, okay, beliefs, menu. Sige. Yes, Aljay Monterola. Yes, Aljay.
We encounter culture po, sir, by the influence po, sir.
Influence. Can you specify your answer, Dave? Jade?
Like kanang mo abroad ka, sir, then mo culture shock ka, like that, then by influencer, kay ma-adapt ni mo ilang culture po.
Yes. Sige. How about sa may nag-unaan mo? Dagka. Yes, Ramo. Oh, sige, Ramo naman. Si Ramo, ang loon ng...
No, sir. Influence to generation, sir. For example, pista.
Example, ikaw. Pagka man.
Ako, sir, nag-communicate ko kay Rafi, nanami, kanang relationship through messenger. O, culture mo na siya.
Okay, thank you very much, Ramo. Sige. Yes, Ervin. Okay. Yes, Ervin. Thank you very much, Ramo. Ervin.
Yes, sir. For me, sir, kay like sa certain events, sir, like sa conversations sa mga family, sir, kay through makita ang cultures, sir, through manners, like you're not allowed to talk when the elders are talking. Dili ka pwede na mo segue, dili ka pwede na mo istorya ra pinakalit dira if nagig-istorya ang mga elders, sir. Ano, sir?
Okay. Thank you very much. Culture class, if can be... Okay, next na po yung question. Can you lower your hands first? Thank you very much. Next na po yung question. Entertain po next. Okay pa na. Dito mahukga ang ako ang question. Technically speaking, ano mo ko siya? If we follow the discussions or the arguments of anthropological perspective that man is a product of cultural influence, it means that tanang gawi niya, if not all, majority of his gawi, attitudes, perspectives, worldview, including worldview, beliefs, is cultural in some sense. Sa ito pa, ang concept niya of what is, including the concept of beauty, the concept of bad and wrong, good, right, correct, proper etiquette, proper voice, volume, modulated, tone, those can be part of cultural influence. That's why I highlighted, even in simple conversation, we can observe culture from the others. The way he speak, conservative siya. Because I learned, for example, in Maranao, the way they dress, for example, the way they talk, Example, mo istorya ko sa na usa ka Maranao dire. Na sa Maranao. Wala. In my previous class, na sa Maranao dito, and he said, as she said that the Maranao, this is a moro located in Marao. Ano siya? Conservative daw mga Maranao. Then they are careful with regards to their speaking. Anang di sa patakag pamalikas, ano ba? Yan na siya na case. Let us say you encounter a person, simple Maranao. Then the way he speaks is malumanay, burag nakaplatag, then burag dili makabuak pinggan, naka-conservative na siya. Even that simple conversation, simple encounter, you can actually think of, okay, di ka na siya sa kultura nga ingani. Di ka na siya sa pamilya, which ang culture nga gina-practice nila is dapat well-mannered ka, mong storya ka, tarong, dili binuang, musuot ka, at least kaya-aya, dili to, ang ana ba? That's why I told you, I tell you that even in simple conversation, the cultural background of a person can be experienced in that moment of encounter. Example, kung gikan ka sa pamilya na liberal, experience mo sa tao mo, kung liberal sa free, carefree siya ba? The way he talks, wala kay siya, bahala mo na, maminaw, bahala na maminaw diyan mga kwan. Tamang istoryahan ito. Kasi pagkikin sa pamilya nga liberal in terms of freedom, exercising individuality. Yes, it's part of culture. So, we don't need kanang mga rare occurrences like pagmamano, sa kasal, beliefs to encounter a person's culture. Even in simple conversation, simple encounter, in the public, biski maglingkod ka diha, ang tanaw ka sa iya, naglako-lakog yun sa iya you can somehow glimpse of a culture where he belongs, where that person belongs. If you are really observing, because more likely, there are some culture that clearly distinguished or can be distinct from the other culture. Example, sa Muslim. In terms of belief, sa mga Kristiyano, sa mga Muslim, the other sects, sekta. Example, daghang kay baboy, wala sila magbaboy, no? Maybe you are thinking, okay, siguro in terms of faith, okay, Muslim siguro ni sila. Example, yan ang mga instances ba? So, you don't need a special occasion to encounter culture. The simple behavior, actions, words, of person whom you talk, you can glimpse at least, kung dili man yun tanan, okay, klaro ka, at least you can glimpse, okay, gikan siya sa kultura nga ingani. Okay? Did you get my point, class? By the way, no? Did you get my point? Imagine rin nga. Bitaw, nasabtan ba? Nag-gets ba kong punto?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So, you don't need like festival, blah, 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 special occasions to encounter culture. Because it's like people are carriers of culture. That's the point. If people are carriers of culture, normally the way they behave, act, and talk will reveal their cultural background. That's the point. That's the point of it. Then going back to sociological perspective, how these two concepts distinguish each other? Ingani ni siya. Ako example like LBC, although it's not a perfect analogy, but let's try to adapt this one. It's like a carrier. Let us say, a carrier, padala. Okay? Food panda. Ang pagkaon, gidala sa carrier, sa food panda nga screw. Karon, nag-meet mo. Nag-meet mo ba? Okay, kuhaon na nimo ang kuan. Kuhaon na nimo ang quote-unquote, ang pagkaon, let us say. Kung sa'yo nadawat nimo, per se, I mean, ang pagkaon tama. sa pagkaon nga nadawat nimo? Kung may hatag sa mga sakro, ihang kaugalingon or ang pagkaon?
Pagkaon, sir.
Ang pagkaon.
Sir.
Imong culture.
Then, what is the role of the crew? The Food Panda. Kung sa'yo role niya?
To deliver
To
sa
deliver food, sir.
Deliver, a medium. Tama, a medium for the delivery of food. If you think food as a culture, think food as a culture, and the crew as a person who carries the culture. Ing ana ang idea niya. In our normal conversation, in our normal interaction with others, we shared meanings, symbols through language, of course. But the symbols that we share is not coming from out of nowhere. Na siya gihugutan, na siya pinanggalingan. So where did these ideas, practices, my behaviors comes from? Here's culture. I only showed to you the cultural in totality that I've learned through my experience, of course, from my family, from a larger community, from a national context and a global context. So that is why for anthropological perspective, what is important for anthropological perspective is it's the culture that people carries that influence you. For sociological, it's the person per se that influence you. Can you see now the difference between the two?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So sociological perspective, what is important for sociological perspective in relation to our concept of the self is the interaction, the people whom you communicate. But for anthropological, no, it's not about the person per se. It's the shared meaning and symbols that the person shared unto you, which is cultural in sense. It's that he learned it, quote unquote, in culture, where he belongs, where he studies, where he experiences. So it's like what is important and shapes you is the message for cultural background and for anthropological. The message is burabitog, which is packaged by culture, not the person per se. The person is only just a medium for cultural experience of the other person. So that's the point of anthropological, and that's the more for me. That's the difference. But of course, dili po nato ma-discredit si sociological. Talking about the importance of sociological and anthropological. Ano di mo ito ma-discredit? Culture per se is immaterial. Majority of it are immaterial. The values, beliefs, norms. No, these are immaterial in nature. It is only through man that this immaterial in nature beliefs, values, norms, taboos, and so on and so forth, and the like, can be communicated through us. To us. But it's only through a medium, and that is the person. Sa ito pa, di kaya po ito maingon nga mali si sociological, no? In some sense. Why? Because we need a person to communicate this cultural aspect that we learn. So if you look at it in the relation of the two, is that they are both present when we learn about influence in terms of influence of our identity. Now, in terms of importance and degree of importance, ibutan to siya, muna yung pinakatap. For anthropological, it's the person. Ang importante. For anthropological, no. The message that persons brings, which is the cultural aspect. Kato naman siguro. The end. The end. There's a distinction for cultural and sociological in that matter. Nakuha ba ang example or analogy? Klaro ba?
Yes, sir.
Medyo, sir.
Medyo. I understand. More likely because if you look at it in science as study, this will belong on sociology and anthropology, and to tell you, anthropology and sociology will go hand in hand. And that's why in relation to the concept of the self, more likely it's better to understand it as things, they are going hand in hand. Mura siya, dili siya pwede bulagon. Kaya wala mo dyan tao nga walay kultura nga ginalala. Kung wala po kultura nga ma-experience nato, kung walay tao nga butudlo nato, na naikaguling kultura. So let's grabe to siya. Kasi role nga ginagampanan in short. The sociological and anthropological perspective of the self. But of course, we'll focus on the anthropological, but we will focus on the anthropological. Okay. So for Raif, no, in terms of our concept of relationships, personality traits, achievements, expressions, can be traced in cultural aspect. Example, relationship. Mixed marriage or fixed marriage, arranged marriage versus monogamy, and free choice marriage. For example, for the Muslim or the Moros, they and other lumads here in Davao del Norte, for instance, the Atamanubo, they still practice the arranged marriage or fixed marriage. That's how they view relationship, that it should be arranged by the way, kisay lumad din or parts sa Moros. Reponte, unsa mong kuan reponte?
Di ba bawon, sir?
Di ba bawon? Kasi nang di ba bawon lapit
Wala ba ko sa original na, sir?
Okay, so both parents are di ba bawon?
Dili, sir. Mother lang po.
Okay. Sige. Makasiding. Yes, makasiding.
Moro, sir.
Moro. Unsa nga specific tribe sa Moro?
Maranao, sir.
Maranao. Nagdako jud ka sa somewhere in Marawi?
Dili, sir. Akong parents lang.
Okay. So, diri na ka nagdako sa, taga sa ka makasading?
Tagom, sir. Karantidos.
Okay, sige. Then, how about the Maranao culture, makasading? Did you experience it firsthand? Of course, both ba may parents kay Maranao?
Dili, sir. Kung puan lang papa.
Okay. Kung sa main gitulo si mong papa nga makaingon ka, it's Maranao in origin, culturally speaking. Sige na.
Yan, dili magpapildi, sir.
Dili na mapildi. Oo. Dili na mapildi. Okay. Sige. Iso niya di pati yun si makasading. No? Di yun siya mapapildi. Andam mo guys. Andam dyan mo guys. Okay, sige. Gawas na makasading. Unsa pa?
Kuan man gud, sir, kanang dili jud mi nagdako sa kanang Maranao na society, sir, ba kay sa city biya minsan nya napalibutan mig mga kuan.
Kristyano.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, sa to pa, nagdako ka na ang kultural mong kinagisnan is sa kaning diri na murag mix culture.
Yes, sir.
Dili na purely Maranao. Okay, yes. I understand it. The same ba Reponte, no? Bro, kaya ito po nahitabo ka Reponte. Gawas ka Reponte kung kasaling na pa. Nga nagdako jud sa ilang cultural background ba nga, which is distinct from sa taga-Tagum, taga-Panabo. Ano ba? Wala. Wala.
Wala na gulo, sir.
Wala na siguro sir. Ay, may pusa sir. Joking. I learned from Bai, last 2 weeks ago, na may seminar nga giatinan, dali na ko sa DNS about the culture of Atamanubo. Then, ito dito sa kabayi sa Atamanubo diri. Then, part of its of the seminar is the some clarification and some introducing the culture. And one of it kasi sa fixed marriage. Nga nila pagto nganong nagato sila fixed marriage. For them, fixed marriage is the ideal quote unquote married life. Sila. The reason is that kato siya kay kakabang bahay nga nag-experience siya ang kuan kay educated man siya no college graduate siya then okay no because of the liberal education. Liberal, I'm referring to freedom, choice. Okay. Liberal education naging napudlo sa school, emphasizing freedom, rationality, individuality, and so on and the like. Pag ato na nito, dalan aniya ng ingana nga learning. Ingana, we call it also culture. Ingana nga learning or culture. Mo na, miski yung papa niya, chieftain niya o yung papa, no? Wala doon nakabuot. Okay? Gusto lagi niya, pero pa empower yung kagalingon na siya yung magbuot siya, siya kaminyo. Then what happened? Nagbinyag yun siya nga iyang kabubuton. I mean, iyang choice na lalaki. Then, twice na hitabo. Then, both these two times or failed marriage, I mean, magbulag daw sila. Karon sa katulong, libre naman siya, no? Magluda man siya. Karon ana yung papa, mauna. Tawa-tanawanin mo. Karon, kato si kuan dito, ngita makasawa, ikaw ko partner. Inganaan siya siyang papa. Then siya, during that time, may give na siya siyang papa niya. Yes, that's the point. Walay blessing. For them, they believe that why is it that fixed marriage is ideal or arranged marriage is the ideal way of marrying is that a blessing from the parents is vital for the success of the marriage life. Yes, that's for them. Kaya ang pagtuon nila is kung walay blessing sa ginikanan, dili uyod ng ginikanan mismo, ang kaminyoon daw nila is dili daw maplastar ba, wala daw ka stability. And that's what she experienced during these two marriages na siya ang huwag ito isa pa, mauna, no? Tagampo. Hindi siya tagampat. Mauna mo na pala. Okay, buot ka na walay blessing sa mua. And that's their belief. That's how they conceive. That's why, if that is the ideal way of marrying, sige, go for it. Wala nga context ba? Because that's how they perceive that they need a blessing, not only from their parents, but their quote-unquote mga bathala. So, that's how they practice. Because that's the ideal marriage for them with a blessing para magpuyo sila sa kaminyoon na successful, na ay kalinaw, na ay kalipay. Although, in Christian perspective, kung sa itong mga dumagat may term nila diri sa mga tagapatag. Although sa tagapatag na perspective, uya po sa babae, binyo man siya, nagipugos. Ano nga konteksto sa to ba? Because that's our cultural understanding of marriage. It should be based on consensus, based on agreement. Wala ka na force. But for them, it's not like that. They also believe that personal conviction, personal choice is lesser than the blessing of my parents and the bathala or the gods. So, yan na siya perspective. And if you look at it, yan na rin pagtuon na sir. It's something to do with their culture. It's something to do with their culture. That is why Rife said that even in our concept of relationship, culture is important and, let us say, dominating in some sense. Kung asa kang kultura nga bilog, more likely mo na mong i-follow. Okay? And that's how that's how we are shaped by that concept. For instance, marriage. Okay? Another thing is about kaning concept of personal traits. Gi-share po ito niya about personal traits. Dili na siya nag-share. Siya ba to? Siya lagi. Tama, siya nag-traits. The concept of or the value of hard work and responsibility. Sa mga dumagat, kitang mga taga-patad, taga-lungsod. Sa tuwang kultura, pag ngay mga bitbitunon, mga kargahunon, kasi magkarga, babae, lalaki.
Lalaki, sir.
Lalaki, sir.
Lalaki. Tama, lalaki. Sa tuwang kultura. No, she explained that in their culture, that they define responsible in that matter. Sa to pa, kung ang lalaki sa tuwa dere, dili mo kargag bukat, irresponsible siya, ipasagdab na yung igsuon ng babae, ipasagdab na yung mama, madako matag lawas, irresponsible ng tawhana. The concept of responsibility or responsibility. For them, she said that no, it should be the women who would carry the heavy loads. Explanation is that it's common for them that they will be ambushed in the way ng mga kalaban. Nga ba? Mga unexpected guests nga na yung mga masamang, let us say, loob. And it's the responsibility now of the male or the husband to protect the family. Now, kung naikargahon daw ang amahan, kaya nakurwa siya, at kaayo, at sinako, kung saan niya pag-protect sa iyang pamilya, kung saan niya pag-act ba, automatically, to defend his family, nga, preoccupied man siya sa iyang dala nga butat. And that's why, for them, normally, ang ginadala sa lalaki is only polo, sundang, pana, or bangkaw. Because, ang ilang kwan is for protection. And that's how they define responsibility. Una, normally, sa ilang mga cases, dili mo dalang mga bugat ang lalaki. Mga nalunon, dili mo dala ang lalaki, ana. Ihatag sa babae, ang role sa lalaki is to protect. And that's responsibility for them. That's how they define responsibility. But on our case, murag lahi man po siguro sa baliktad yung kayo ang responsibility. Sila, responsibilidad ang ang lalaki pagigana. Sa tuwag tanaw, responsibilidad. And vice versa. Did you see the difference in cultural aspect in terms of personal traits with regards to the value of hard work? And by the way, responsibility and responsibility. It's something to do with culture. Okay? And that's how their mentality also, their perspective are being shaped by that idea of responsibility. So it's something to do with culture at the end of the day. Conclusion, cultural. Okay? Ito pa, our concept of responsibility is being shaped by our culture. Pero bilang katong kultura, that's how you define responsibility. Okay? So, question so far? Achievement, the same. Achievement for them, happiness for them, is like to be with their family, according to her. Ubalang pamilya, that's happiness for them. That's achievement for them. That is success for them. Sa tuwa is, dapat makahimuntag-eskwela, makatrabaho, makawagbalay, naisakyanan, makalaglaag. That's how we define achievements. Am I correct? Do you agree on that matter? Sa taga-syudad?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But for them, if you will ask them, anak pa siya, no, that's not our quote-unquote ideal achievement for us. Our ideal achievement is to be with our family. Even to the point that it's okay na dili mo mag-eskwela. Ana siya. Muna class, tanawan mo mga to sila sa Panabo, Tagum during holidays. Tanan, uban yun at tibok pamilya, singkang bata, ano yun? Kapit ang mabae, uban nun yun nila tanan. Because that's how they define happiness for them, to be with their family. So, kalay-lahi na konsepto about family achievements based on cultural aspect. How about expressing emotion? Expressing emotion. Sa toa, ni-explain po na, sa lahat ng speaker, sa lahat ng community experience, ana siya, once daw, nga mag-okay na ang sa pong natay, lalis natay away, once daw nga ang chieftain na isulba ilang problema, once and for all radyo daw na, pag kuman na, wala binay ko na, wala ni bangi, anak pa gusto nga, pag kuman na ko, husay sa chieftain, wala, maghudulo ng basketball. Kung our case, burag na pa'y dumot-dumot, no, sila daw, dili daw nga na, no? Once nga mahusay-husay na, ana ilang kultura. Okay? And regards to the emotion, kung nasa kalagutan, dili gyud pwede sila dili gyud pwede nga dili to masulbad tong lagot. That's why, sapo kung nasa gusto nga patyon, kung gusto sila mag patyon na kalaban or na ay nakaatraso sila, gusto makakitag dugo, pangitaan nyo na pamangin makakita sa dugo. Kung dili man daw, ang kanang tawhana ang kuan sa may mo intervene ba ay lang na kuan na lahat nga butang basta satisfy lang daw yung anger, like killing a carabao or killing an animal. Ang iya lang is burag nabuto kay makuan nga nung lagot mabutang dito. That's how they practice. They're about their kalagot. Sa to is no, it's not like that. We should adhere to our law. Lagot ka or wala, ibalaan na, kasuhin na kung gusto ka. Mupatay ka na, ops, di ka pwede mapatay. Di ka pwede mo kagdugo. Di po ka pwede mo kag-animals. I mean, wala to yung practice na mukil og animals in order to appease our anger. Sila that's part of their culture. That's why, ano siya lagod na, no? And, kapilag yun ang ibalik na talk sa speaker na kung ang Tibok Village daw ang naagrabyado, kasi po, kung kaso, yung Tibok Village yung na akong kalaban, it happened daw nga, kay kung example, ang imong sala kay patyunon ka, I mean, kailangan yung kapatyon, latasin, mo intervene nga, kailangan siya patya. It happened one time daw nga, gisugot, sige, di mo siya patyon, pero tagahin mo sa kakabaw, sa kakabayo ba, o kabaw, mo may kabaw tingin. Kay, what happened? Dito, tanang lakot sa village, dito gipahimutang sa karabaw daw. Gidunggab-dunggab lang karabaw, antod mamatay ang karabaw. Pero stabbing. In order to appease the anger of the village. And that's how they show, and that's how they express emotion. But for us, mga taga-diri, how do we express our emotion? Especially anger. Tama. Social media. Mag-run sa social media. Yes.
Sunggabon dito, sir, uy.
Sunggabon. Yes, it's true.
Dog bullpen, sir.
Dog bullpen. Hana siya. Okay. That's why sometimes we have an idea, no, kaning mga lumad kasi this is a prejudice, mga lumad, mga moral kasi mga warsyak kayo, no, mga mamataya yung tao. Because that's how they deal with their expression, I mean, their emotion. They should be, lagi, dili lang siya taman sa ikatulog na ako, dapat na mabut nga niya akong kalagot. Then, dapat yun hitabuan sa experience nga. Iyang pamilya na ay experience sa mga Japanese people. Experience sa speaker. Karon, that's World War II. And ang katong tawhana give promising og galingon na mupatay gyud siya og usa ka Japanese. Di ko siya mahimutang. Mo na promise niya gusto una siya makita nga Japanese pakin gyud daw niya. Karon ang hitabuan siya tong ano, it's a real story ba. Nahitabuan ayon ang speaker. Karon naga-organize man sila o kanang community service sa katong tribo ba. Karon part of the sponsors and guest is ang Japanese. What happened? Pag adala na dito, o nakita sa katong tawhana, ayan, promise. Kuya sa makita promise nila. Kapag buhaton nila before sa namatay. Karon nakita niya doon. Karon nakagubot daw ang Tibok Village. O dito nibalaan nila, katong tawhana, nag-promise isang kaugalingon niya. Before siya mamatay, o na siya makita ang masugatan nga Japanese. Pagkilo niya, usap ang kanda. Karon nakagubot ang Tibok Village kay wala gino, bisita dito nila. Guest nila, din sponsor sa ilang program. So, may intervention na ito. Karon, in order to appease the promise that that person keep from her childhood memories, siyempre bata pa, promise siya makakita nga. In order to appease that kind of, to give way to my, instead of patyon tong Japanese, mihangyo siya nga tagaan siya og manok bato nga puti. Nga bura bitaw instead nga Japanese ang kuan. Bura sa manok nga puti na akong kalagot, akong kasuko. Kahit mo sa tanan. Ug dito na gibon sa manok nga puti. Ano na tabo? Ano na tabo? I mean, that's how they express their emotion. Sa tuwa, we do it in civil way. Okay? So that's how difference about cultural understanding of our behavior, ways of behaving, attitude in reference to culture. But it doesn't mean that we are culturally embedded. It doesn't mean that our being independent, the individualistic attitude natin is mawala. Whether may individual's attitude sa independent or capacity to think independently, wala nagpasabot. Ang natay kultura, gisip sa kultura, mawala itong rationality. Mura klaro diya. Wala nagpasabot nga natay kultura, mura tagpapit sa kultura. Kung sa ang kultura, dito tauyon ta, without question, not something like that. We recognize too that although we belong to a culture, we are shaped by our culture. it doesn't mean we lose that kind of individuality or being independent in terms of thinking, feeling, and attitude. So lagi po natin gawin kagagawasan in terms of our ways of behaving. That's why, pwede tamo pwede tamo katapos mo yung sa bahay no kapag gi-share ako nga bahay nga instead ng fixed marriage, siya mismo may react. Ay, no. So that's the kind of example of independent. Although we belong to a certain cultural group, it doesn't mean we lost our rationality, our ways of thinking, individuality. Okay? But of course, na productive. So that would be the end of our discussion for today, class, about the cultural aspect of development of the self in relation to cultural influences. Do you have questions or clarifications?
Ma'am, sir.
Klaro ba? Klaro ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Opo.
So in short, if we collect all the learning so far, philosophical soul, body, mind man to, based on his behavior, okay? I mean, if you want to understand a person, example, nakaimamat ka tao ba? Gisay ko na, ang atong day, masarap, gisay ko na ko ani ba? Murag itry na ko understand ani. No. If we follow all the lessons that we have, it's possible actually to know a person based on his behavior, the way he speak. Possible yun siya. Totoo yun. Namatay din kay dili na siya gikan nga pamilya na siya ingani nga inclination. Kaya kung sa sociological, usa yang ipangsulti mo likely maupo na siya po siya ingana nga inclination. Usa yang mga hilig, usa yang political inclination. Okay. Culturally speaking, di siya makaungani na siya nga gawi. Okay. Dili siya gikan nga kultura. Ilonggo rin siya. Cebuano rin siya. At Tagalog rin siya. Waray rin siya. Usa rin siya kalumad. Usa rin siya kamuro. Usa rin siya Kristiyano. Usa rin kamuslim. Even though, in that short let us encounter, we can actually glimpse a little bit of the personality or the identity of a person. If we collect all the learning so far, and it's possible. Although we cannot grasp the totality of that person, but somehow we have still a glimpse of the person. If you will use, of course, carefully. Okay, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much and have a nice day, everyone. Unless you have some questions or clarifications. Questions, clarifications?
And so far, sir.
Klaro ba?
Yes, sir. Klaro po.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sige. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much and have a nice day, everyone. God bless you. See ya.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you.